Barcelona City FM 107.3. In English, in tune, in Catalunya.
Hi everybody, welcome back. So one of the things that Vess and I thought would be most important for us to discuss, we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about the difference between what we do, what Vess and I do, which is coaching, and what a therapist or a psychologist would do. Also the difference between a health coach and a nutritionist. There's many different distinctions for us to talk about. So we're just going to have a conversation about that. I think we'll start with what the difference is between a health coach, because we're both trained as health coaches, and a nutritionist. So, Vesna, when people ask you that question, what do you say is different between a health coach and a nutritionist?
Well, basically, health coach, they do not diagnose, or treat or provide medication, to clients, like we actually consult, provide support, and hold people accountable through their journey of a health transformation. Health coach does not only, I don't count calories because I don't believe that there's one diet that stands for everybody, and that is the mission and what Institute for Integrative Nutrition promotes. That it's not about having a diet mentality. It's actually about ditching the diet mentality. And getting in touch with your own body. So it's about empowering people to get aligned with their true self, and what serves best their own body, mind, and soul. Okay.
Great. And so, but nutritionists don't prescribe medication, but you mean like when they prescribe like what to eat, you're saying the health coach is different than that?
Well, basically, like nutrition, it probably will be like, we'll give you a specific program, a plan that you have to follow. So, for example, from 9 to 11, you eat this. Mm-hmm. So let's say it's almonds, you can only take 100 grams of almonds. From 11 till that, you eat this. So it's a very precise, specific plan where we look at the whole aspects of health. Health coaches look at the primary foods and secondary foods, which is...
What are those?
So this is one thing that I haven't come across anywhere else apart from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Primary foods are personal relationships, career choice, spiritual practice, and physical activity. And secondary foods is the food that we have on our plate. So both of these plates of foods play a major role in having a balanced health, because like you can be vegan and still be a miserable person if you don't, work on your other aspects of life. Mm-hmm. Or you can, you can be very happy and have healthy relationships and train, but if your food is out of balance and if you're going to McDonald's and eating all the time, then still you're not feeding your body with the right nutrition, so you are nutritionally deficient. So it's about finding that balance between all these aspects.
Good. So the difference between a health coach and a nutritionist, I heard a lot of different things. And the one that seems to be most important is that you understand that someone is more than what they're eating. It's like they have to put their attention on things outside of what their food choices are, and the food is also important.
Exactly. I mean, it is true that you are what you eat. I do believe that everything starts with food because, on a daily basis, we are bringing the outside world into our inside world, but also on the daily basis, we are receiving also other things from the outside world, so you have to find that balance. You cannot train yoga on a regular basis and eat junk food and eat processed food because those things are not aligned with each other. Naturally, once you start training yoga, your body and your organism will start to want to eat cleaner, healthier food that is full of life.
Right. Okay, so I think hopefully people
don't you think that? I mean, like,
sure.
What have you heard from your end? What do you think that is the difference between a nutritionist and a health coach?
So just for everyone to be understanding, I don't define myself as a health coach, but I was one, so I can speak to this. What Vesna said, I agree with, basically. That's what I would say. There's not much more to say than that. Yeah. There is the difference that I see is that mostly, in my experience with what I understand of what nutritionists do, is that it's almost like in the model of medicine where you diagnose the problem and you come up with a solution, and then you tell that person what there is to do about that. And in health coaching, when I do that, when I have done that, I'm much more curious about understanding as much as I can about the person.
I think it's more about, sorry to cut you off before my thought goes away. I think it's more about you encourage the person to diagnose themselves.
Yeah, well, we like to ask questions as coach, and a coach in general, and a health coach specifically, ask questions about why do you think you eat that way in the morning, or why do you choose that when you know it doesn't support your well-being. And those are the different kind of questions that we would ask as a health coach that maybe a nutritionist would not ask. A nutritionist would just say, this is what you should eat, and it's as simple as that. It keeps it quite simple. So I think that's probably a good definition of, or a good distinction between what health coaching is and what a nutritionist is. But then there's this other thing, which is what's the difference between coaching and like therapy or a psychologist? And that's another thing.
Well, I don't know. Well, because like the reason why I love my job is because it is partially as a psychology, because like
But you're not trained as a psychologist.
I'm not trained as a psychologist because but I do ask a lot of psychological questions because it is about encouraging the person to look within. It's not just about telling them what they need to do. We all know what we need to do deep down if we look deep down enough. So it's about encouraging that person through psychological question, to actually find the answers inside. So the difference, I would say, psychologists, I guess they have more knowledge about how the brain works, and what would you say?
Yeah, sometimes you're going to hear Vesna and I have conversations where we have different viewpoints, and that's part of the show, part of what's healthy about conversation. So I have a different opinion about it. Yeah. So for me, it's like, well, the way that when people ask me, because they often think I'm like a psychologist or like a therapist, and there's a few different distinctions I use. One is because I've had experience. Actually, I've had therapy before in my life at different times. It's not. I have no shame about that. I have had that, and I've had coaching.
Me myself too.
Yeah. So it's fine. So what I usually say about it is the difference is, like, a psychologist is usually tending to look towards the past, more past focused, and coaches are a little bit more goal focused, more oriented towards what someone wants to create. Yeah. So I think about it that way. That's one difference. And then another thing is what I've noticed from not all of my therapy, but some of my therapy was that the therapist would be looking to understand, like diagnose, kind of like a doctor, like diagnose, oh, there's the thing that's wrong. Not so much, here's what now you can do. It's a little bit like that. So, and to your point about, you were saying about, you can ask, and I also ask what can be considered psychological questions. And at the school that we both went to, they talk about in terms of high mileage questions, these kind of things.
Yeah.
So, we're not trained, neither Vesna or I, in psychology, in specifically how to engage with someone in a psychological conversation to help them diagnose themselves or for us to diagnose them. But we are trained in asking questions that are powerful, that people haven't heard before, that are relevant to,
that they lead you maybe to finding the seed of the problem.
Exactly, a deep insight for yourself psychologically. Yeah. You could have that, but it's not my goal to be in the context of psychology when I'm asking those questions. Yeah. I'm asking the questions in order for that person to see something new. Yeah, so it's a rich topic. I'm sure people will have questions, and we maybe will have a topic on this in the future for a future portion of the show, a future episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I wanted to say about it? There is. We've talked about psychology. We talked about that's what I wanted to share with people, and just to understand that, coaching is. Oh, one other thing about this I think is so important, because often when I tell people, like in an elevator, if I meet someone for the first time, what is a health coach? And they say, aren't you just telling people what to do all day? And I tell them, almost never, really, almost never. I do like to educate people about things, but mostly I'm asking questions, because mostly it's not that they don't know something, because we have Google, we have the internet, there's plenty of information out there.
Yeah, not that all of it is relevant, because now there's plenty of information and BS at the same time. So
exactly. There's news and there's fake news.
Yes.
So it's like, these. So what I say to people is that I want to help them find their own answers. Like, I'm not I'm really not interested in telling you what to do because I can't know what it is for you to do. I can't actually know that.
Yeah, there's one famous a sentence that we've used is in IAN is person's food can be another person's poison, and we are all biologically different, and that is so true. We really are. And also like the only constant thing in life is change, so we're in a constant evolution. So if at one point in your life it served you to be vegan, maybe 10 years down the line you need to eat protein coming from a lean meat because because of the biological change in your body or whatever type of condition maybe you're facing.
Yeah, this was exactly what happened for me. I was vegetarian for a few years, and it really served me at that time to cleanse my body from the foods I had been eating before. And then I realized that for me, once or twice a week, some organic beef or chicken is what serves me well. That doesn't mean I won't ever be vegetarian again, but for this period of my life, I'm not.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, 70 to 80% of my diet is vegan. However, I did consume for a certain amount of time, for a few months, last winter actually, bone broth because of my lower back injury. So here we go.
Very interesting. It's actually my sister who just gave birth is big on bone broth as well for rejuvenating.
Yeah, it's for the immune system. It's very supportive. But we can talk about this a little bit later. I think it's time that we play some tunes and give you a little bit of a break, guys, because you are taking in a lot of information. So here we go.
We'll see you on the other side.
Well, play me, baby, like an old guitar. I don't care where you stop and start. My days are lonely and my nights are hard. So play me, baby, like an old guitar. Hit me, honey, like a beat up drum. All the way till your hands go numb. All the way back to where I'm from. So play me, baby, like an old